All right, hello everyone. So for this video, we'll be focusing on the 6+1 writing traits, specifically as it relates to word choice. Decided to use the pink background in honor for Breast Cancer Month, being that this video was recorded the last day of October to honor those people who are survivors of breast cancer and those who have lost loved ones due to the battle of breast cancer. So make sure you're taking notes, paying attention, also looking out for those Easter egg questions to earn bonus points. Alrighty, so continuing on, we're looking at word choice. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's first start talking about what word choice is. Word choice is a way of choosing words that will paint a picture in the head of the reader. So for example, using fun, new, and exciting words. Example of word choice. We want to make sure that we use words that help create imagery that really impact the reader and will act like the text says here, paint the picture so it really grasps a hold of what we're trying to get across to our audience. So there are a bunch of different points that we need to consider. So the first thing when we're talking about word choice, we're looking at vocabulary that conveys meaning. So using words as tools to build the piece the right way. Am I using the right words? What words should I use to convey a certain message or feeling? Are these words adequate enough to get the point across? We also want to use active words. These are words that help illustrate how lively our
interruption, Ms. Whitcher. Please call the front office on page 222 or 224. Ms. Whitcher, please call the front office 222-224.
Guess you can't record a video in school. But these active words show how lively and show action as it relates to our narrative. Also, you want to try to include special moments or memorable phrases. The piece should contain a passage or a thought that is especially meaningful. We also want to have visual writing. So these are your descriptive words that should be very vivid so that the reader can almost see what's happening. So that all boils down to word choice. Are we choosing the right words to create those visual images in our reader's head? And then lastly, using specific and precise words. The writer should take care in choosing the best words to express thoughts to match the purpose of the piece. All right, so let's look at an example. And actually, before we get to that, let's ask ourselves a few questions as it comes to word choice. Have I used some words that I really love in my piece? Can my reader tell what my words mean? So that's very important because you want to make sure you're using words that the reader will be able to understand as it relates to their level. And so that means you have to take into consideration the audience that you're writing your piece to. Also, you have to consider, have you used any new words? Sometimes we get in a kind of a rut of using the same old words. So we want to try to expand our vocabulary, use different words, possibly use a thesaurus to look at words that would be a better substitute for the words that we've been using. And then lastly, did I try not to repeat words too many times? So again, this speaks to having a word bank, a vault, if you will, of words that we could pull from so that we're not being repetitive in our writing and we mix it up, make our narratives more descriptive, more vivid, and less repetitive. All right, so let's look at an example. So instead of saying in a line, it was hot, the example we're going to try is the July sun was so scorching that my feet sizzled on the burning sidewalk. So you see the difference, and I know this is a kind of a grammatical error here. This should actually this should say that the July sun here was so scorching that right here, let's take this out. We got double click. And that's not right. So let's go up here. The July sun was so scorching that my feet sizzled. Let's take this it out. that my feet sizzled on the burning sidewalk. All right, there we go. So obviously the second choice here is much more descriptive. If you look at our word choice, we use scorching instead of the word hot. We use burning to describe the sidewalk. We use July here to describe the sun. So using those adjective and those descriptive words to really allow the reader to visualize or understand how hot it was. So just saying it's hot is not good enough. But this sentence here is a better descriptive sentence, and the word choice is better to convey the feeling. All right, let's look at another one. This one is called The Bear. The big bear stood by the water. He looked at his shadow in the big lake. He thought that he looked nice. He went to take a drink of water. A fish went by. The bear wanted to eat the big fish. He ate the fish and went away. So if you notice here a couple things. One, we keep using the word big over and over again. It's very repetitive, kind of gets boring and outplayed. We also see the word bear used a lot. And this is not a very good description. Doesn't use a very good, vivid, descriptive words. Doesn't really create a sense of imagery. But let's look at the second example. The enormous bear stood by the water. He peered at his shadow in the massive lake. So you see how we substitute, instead of saying looked, we use peered. Instead of saying the big lake, we use the word massive. He thought he looked powerful. He set out to take a drink of water when a fish darted by. So instead of using went, we use darted. Instead of saying he went, he set out. The bear wanted to consume the immense fish. He gobbled up the fish and sauntered away. So instead of eat, we use consume. Instead of big, we use immense. Instead of ate, we use gobbled. And instead of went, we use sauntered. So if you look here, this paragraph, in terms of word choice, has a greater sense of capturing or conveying what the author wants to say. Now, if our audience was possibly for a first grade or second grade level, this paragraph might be appropriate. But when we're looking at writing for middle school students, it's particularly 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, the vocabulary here, the word choice here is more appropriate. All right, so this year we will learn to use words that vividly describe your topic using precise, powerful, and natural language that makes the meaning clear. We will experiment with unique and memorable phrases, and we'll use energetic verbs. All right, so for practice, what I want you to do is using your apocalyptic narrative as an example, and this is what I want you to do in your notes. What I want you to do is substitute words in a paragraph for more vivid active words. So basically what you're going to do is copy and paste both versions in your notes, possibly use a thesaurus to find words to substitute. So again, this first paragraph we will already have written in class. So you're going to take that example and then paste it and do a newer version with more descriptive and vivid words, applying some of the things we discussed in this video. Alrighty, and that's it. So just remember to take this concept, apply it to your writing, and we will expand upon it in class. Until then, have a good evening.